I'm sure all of us know exactly how powerful innovation is. If you innovate in just the right way, there's this massive chance to explode and go viral. So the question is, how do we do that? How do we generate innovation, strike gold, and then go viral? My name is RayBenefield. Game design is one of my special interests, and today we're going to be talking about multiple techniques in order to generate this innovation. And you're going to want to stick around because the last few are a doozy. Before we get to the first technique, I wanted to show a game that I plan on rebuilding in multiple game engines, as many as I possibly can. And if you're interested in that, please subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Minotaur is a game with a 100% randomized maze with only one solution. The first player to reach the end and grab the sword becomes the Minotaur. Then it becomes a survival game where players must avoid the Minotaur for as long as possible in order to score placement points. So Minotaur was my first Fortnite feature, and I'm excited to build it in other game engines because it's got a relatively simple algorithm and it's a simple concept that should translate well into a lot of different things. So honestly, one of the best ways to start being innovative is to look at the trending concepts within your industry. If you're into game development, you know that Battle Royale has taken off lately. If you're into streaming, Fall Guys and Among Us has taken off recently. If you're in Fortnite, Zone Wars and box fights will never die. So to start siphoning off of some of the popularity of these trending concepts, you can start with variations. For example, look at the differences between Fortnite, PUBG, Apex Legends, add in a new mechanic, or change some of the rules. If you're from Fortnite, obviously box fights evolved from Turtle Wars. You also don't have to use current trends. You can go look into the archives, check out some of the past trends. For example, arena shooters like Quake. Look at Diabotical. Diabotical's doing amazing stuff right now. If you think you've come up with some extremely innovative ideas, please drop a like on the video. I'd love to see how many creatives we have out there. Another major technique to generate innovation, and probably the easiest to start but the hardest to perfect, is mixing genres. You can start by just straight up mashing two massive genres together, or you can take a game mechanic and just throw it into one and see what happens. Honestly, I think the easiest way to showcase this is going to be with some examples. Look at Puzzle Quest. Puzzle Quest is a match 4 game with RPG fight mechanics. You earn mana, you deal damage by matching gems. So I don't know if you've heard of them, but they're multiplayer online battle arenas. For example, Dota was a mod for Warcraft 3, which is an RTS. You tack in a main character with some level up aspects and skills, and then you throw in some fight mechanics from FPSs. You get yourself some double or triple kills, and you've got a recipe for success. You've seen League of Legends, right? And then we can look at Titanfall. What happens when you take first-person shooter, throw in some parkour, and then add mechs? You get beauty. Honestly, one of the first best examples of this is racing mixed with combat. We're talking Mario Kart, Carmageddon, Road Rash. I don't know if you remember Road Rash, but these kind of racing games with combat were great. And again, it is the easiest to get started with because you can just pick and choose, but it's one of the hardest to perfect because your goal is to find synergy within the mechanics to make something that sings beautifully. If you have some favorite games that you've seen mixed genres, please drop a comment below and let's talk. I'd love to share some. Who said you had to stay within the gaming industry? Go look at other things that are happening in the world and steal from them. That's another common technique. Maybe farming or photography or even going to the airport. If you can figure out some of the games that I'm referring to with these industries, drop a comment below. There's so many examples of taking from other industries, and it's hard to do, but it's really awesome when it happens. Take a look at simulators and board games. They do this all the time. The beauty of reality is that there's an infinite amount of possibilities to take from. You can look at locations, normal activities like going to the store, maybe even sports or toys. The best advice that I can give you is that new ideas are extremely rare. Most things are based on inspiration. When I started doing game design, one of the things that I wanted to do was make something completely unique. And then I'd get frustrated because it'd be so hard. But if you can change your philosophy and realize that most things are based on inspiration, you'll avoid this trap that I fell into. Hey, here's an idea. Why don't you make a deck of cards with a bunch of game mechanics, a bunch of genres, a bunch of themes, and then shuffle them and pull out a hand and make an idea out of that. One of the coolest things about this approach for me is that when you have to work with, say, a hand of 7 cards, your mind works in amazing ways within limited boundaries. If you decide to try any of these tricks, remember to write down every idea like we talked about in this episode, using things like mental agility to make sure you never forget. Having a deck of cards with game mechanics on it is one of my favorite ideas, which is why I've invested in the tools to make my own now that I've moved and I've set up my new content creation room. One of the things I plan on doing is on Twitch when I'm streaming is pulling some of these cards when I've had the deck set up, so that way we can come up with ideas for everyone. If you'd love to join us for some of these streams, my streams start at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, 12 midnight GMT. You're now going to have a ton of ideas to apply to the skills that you got from the last video. And then you can join us for the next video where we talk about the value of actually making these ideas. And sometimes the video is not there, and that's okay, because that means you're watching today, and I'll see you tomorrow.